That's okay. Just kind of goes with the evening. Thank you. So if we can just go through that point by point. This was the February 18th draft. The original policy was drafted back in 2018 with a temporary approval, and it was not updated since that time. So, which is why we're here today. So the purpose of the policy, I'm not going to read everything, but what we did add is the commercial recreation activity means recreation and sporting activities conducted outdoors on beaches, foreshore areas, parks, and other public places, and for which a fee is charged and other commercial gain is obtained. The activity must have a recreational use as its core element. Is there any discussion on that addition to the agenda or to the policy? No?
I think it's good.
Okay.
I think it defines what we're here to talk about.
Okay. And then moving down to the second paragraph, what we added was just giving an example of what recreational activities may include, which are yoga classes, boot camp, group exercises, Tai Chi, sup yoga. And I think that, you know, the point there was just to give examples of recreational activities. Those are the primary ones that we've seen in the past 4 years. So. Any discussion on that? Okay. Moving down to the permit requirements. I changed it from a one-time yearly non-refundable fee and added that the non-refundable recreation permit fee is per the fee, say that fast, per the fee schedule, which is on page 3 of the policy. So previously, the previous policy had a flat fee for any number of days for any time during the season. So what we were trying to attempt to do here is to make those fee permits more equitable, whether you're doing 1 day a week or 6 days a week. So that one-time yearly fee wasn't relevant any longer. So I took that out. So any discussion on that?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
You're having 2 days for $125. Now it says that is good for 4 weeks. So that's the charge for 4 weeks at $125.
And then the proposal would be that it would be renewed. It could be renewed after 4 weeks at another $125, rather than going for the whole season at one rate. If you chose to renew it, you could.
Where do we draw these numbers, the 100 through 200?
We started at the original rate of $100, which was the flat fee for the entire season, regardless of the number of days per week. Okay, so we started at that if they wanted to do 1 day, it was per week, it was $100, and went up incrementally to 5 days a week at $200.
Is there going to be a time limit on this permit? In other words, if you say, I'm going to do this between 9 and noon.
It has to be done on the beaches. The recreational activity has to be concluded before 9 o'clock when the parking meters go on. In the other locations, there has not been a time specification, but certainly if the committee wants to address that, we can build that in for Canal Front Park, George H.P. Smith, Stango. We can build that in.
Okay. I was just curious because I was trying to equate that with a bonfire permit.
Bonfire permits are I see what you're saying, that we
Thank you.
allow a time frame
Yes.
for bonfires.
Yes,
I see
that's-
what you're
that's
saying.
I'm because bonfire is a one-time permit for a time slot, and I'm
Oh,
just
can
trying
you
to.
talk into the mic, Harry? I'm sorry. Thanks, Janelle.
My pleasure.
I thought you were talking. I said, nobody's sitting over there. Why? Why are you talking about that mic?
I'm just trying to equate.
Right.
Making it equitable.
Right. And I think that that's what we're trying to do with the entire policy. So that's a very good point that you bring up, that it should, you know, we should have a discussion on the time limits in the other parks.
Well, but I'm just trying to.
Harry, just move the mic up.
You have to put it in front of you, Harry. Just move it on your side, on the other side.
Yeah, I know. It's like being on Zoom and you're muted.
The audience at home has to hear you.
I beg your pardon. I'm just trying to get a bigger picture of how we're getting these fees. It seems to me 2 days for 4 weeks, that would be 8 days.
Right.
And when you divide 8 into 125, it's $15. And I'm just trying to understand how $15 equates to a bonfire permit, which I don't, you'll have to enlighten me. How much does someone pay?
$25 for under 25 people.
Okay, so it is equitable. That's the only question I have.
Okay. All right.
That was
But remember, it's, they then, well, that's not relevant. I see what you're saying. So do you want to talk about well, let's go back through.
Sure.
And then, because it does get down to the number of days too, we changed that to make that consistent across all park and beach areas. And then we'll go back to fee structure and days. So on page 2, number 5, applying for permits between January and March of each year. We changed the season for May 1 through September 30th from April through October. So we shortened that just a little bit. And I think, you know, the other purpose of this activity in this committee is looking at commercialization and how much commercialization do we want is necessary. So it's shortened by about 60 days, the season. Any comments, recommendations on that discussion?
That's what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we talked about.
Okay. Okay. Then in that same section, number 11 is new. Permit holders will not advertise with use of banners, flags, yard signs, etc. in the parks and beaches. Mm-hmm. And again, that speaks to the commercialization. And number 12 is new. The city reserves the right to deny a request in the best interest of the parks, residents, and visitors. So essentially, it's really the city's decision to issue the permits or not.
Mm-hmm. And that number 11 is consistent with the discussion that we've had in the bigger Parks and Recreation Commission meetings about minimizing the number of signs in our parks,
Right.
So that we wouldn't have clutter in the parks as a matter of course. So that's consistent.
Okay. Any comments moving forward? Okay.
Yep.
So the approved locations and times, George H.P. Smith Park has stayed the same. There was no changes there. Under Stango Park, we added that activities are not permitted on Saturday and Sunday. That was also added to Canal Front Park
Mhm.
and to the city beaches to remain consistent. So the recreational activities are Monday through Friday in all of the parks. And I think, again, the beaches in particular, but really all the parks are very, very busy in the summer. And I think that, you know, it makes sense to not do that recreational activity on the weekends. Harry?
There is yoga in Canal Front Park on Sunday mornings.
Yes.
It's quite well attended and quite popular. And
That's through the Friends.
That's through the Friends, and they're exempt from this
And
policy.
they've got permit, they get permission from the city.
no,
And
I wouldn't want it to end. That was my
Right.
concern.
So it says that any events through the Friends of Canal Front Park, they're exempt from this. So,
Yeah.
But that's a good point.
Mhm.
So that would be the only activity in a park. Any other discussion?
And the Friends get it approved. They run it by the city. They
Yeah.
don't just do whatever they want.
No, they don't. They don't. Could you please step up to the microphone and state your name? I think there's the gentleman behind you.
Hi, Lenny Petrocelli. I'm a resident. I'm also a veteran.
And your address, please.
402 Massachusetts Avenue, Unit 2, Lewis. I just wanted a point of order. What's the process if I did have a question? So I could just come up to the mic.
If you raise your hand, we'll call you up to the mic and just state your name and your address.
Okay. I just, I appreciate your comment, Harry, about the yoga staying on the park because on Sunday, because this is a beach community, weekend community. You got a lot of weekenders here. They come and they want to have activity on the weekend. COVID, you're inside, no more COVID. So we want to be outside. Yoga on the beach was wonderful during COVID, especially on the weekends as well. So I think, we should have that vision of how do we make the public areas open for the public. This is a tourist town. People come and visit. My friends come and they're excited about signing up for yoga and they come on weekends. So they kind of restrict it a little bit. I just want to know where that thought process is because I'd like to know, do we do a survey that there's too much parking between 8 and 9 at the beach? I don't think so. I mean, I live there. I walk there. I walk my dog there. I don't see that crowd. I do yoga on the beach. I don't see that crowd. I don't see it jammed up with parking. I also think it's like, well, okay, we have two parts of the beach. Maybe you say, but the other parking lot that's closer to those condominiums, maybe make that the location. But I think restricting a weekend for yoga, which is wellness, and that's a healthy thing for all our ages, especially as we get older, Harry, stretching and activity, walking on the beach. The next thing we know, we're going to do. No, but I mean, I just want to know where the thought process comes. I think we should be encouraging more wellness on the beach. We should be calling more recreation on the beach, more activity on the beach, not less. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. So please state your name and your
Dimitra
address.
Kotanidis, 35205 Palaboat Drive in Lewis, Delaware. I've been a resident since 2007, and I'm the culprit to probably why some of this is happening today. And I hope we can come to terms on trying to figure out for the best of the town. When I moved here, there was really only one activity out there with Matt Carter and Quest back then. I worked for Matt and asked him what he would think if I started my own yoga class. And that's how my business really started, the Dimitra Yoga. That's been here since 2007. We started with yoga on the beach a couple times a week, which did really well. What made it even bigger was once the once the park started, when I contacted them and asked if I could teach in the park, that Sunday was incredible for the town. And I say that for many reasons. I travel constantly. I love travel. It's my passion. The one thing I look at when I travel is what can I do outside? I don't want to be inside. And I usually travel to communities where there is a wealth of a plethora of different activities outside. We didn't have anything. We didn't really have a recreation community in we're Parks and Rec, but we didn't really have any of that when I moved here, except for the Little League baseball. So I think that with Matt's help back then, I started something that has flourished into something that was really beautiful for the whole community. We've been in multiple newspapers talking about the best kept secrets on the beach, and the park yoga on the beach has been one of those things that come up over and over. We had minimum of 100 people for most Sundays for the first few years before yoga became, you know, there's yoga everywhere now, more I would say than what we had. We had 100 to 200 people every Sunday in the class. At 9 o'clock or 8:59, when those, you know, 100 to 200 people went off to walk home, they stopped for coffee. They were looking for coffee and breakfast. And I think what we did is also help build the local smaller community and businesses in the town as well. Except for that, even though I am a private business, the money we've raised every year from the beach has gone to small nonprofits in the area, in our most in Sussex County, families. The only money we've taken from the money that we raise is to pay our instructors, which over the years I think went up from 15 to 25, and this year we're going to try to do 30. All the other money has been given back every year. And every year I will ask the participants a few times when I'm out there and teach, if you have anybody, if it's a, you know, it's a school teacher that knows this family is having a hard time and they need to buy a truck or fill the refrigerator up, we will help with that. The last 2 years were the only 2 years we kept it for ourselves, meaning in 2020, when we almost shut down as a business, we kept the money and we said, whatever we raise this year, if you want to help us, we'll keep it for the business so we can keep this going. In 2021, when one of our main instructors had a really fatal injury where she broke her spine, spinal injury, and her ankles, and is now in a wheelchair and trying to figure out how to walk again, we raised the money for Carrie. So except for being a business that has given over the years and also helped make Lewis on the map where we have a lot of things to do outside, we also help in the process. Taking away the weekends will be shutting it down. The weekdays is more because the locals want it. We don't really do it for the visitors. Most of them will come on a Saturday and a Sunday. So Saturday on the beach and Sunday in the park are big deals for us. And if we can't have them, then it doesn't make sense to do it at all. Like at all, Monday to Thursday. And I can show you my numbers because we have record of every year of how many people we get and how much they donate. Some people donate nothing. So a lot of the yoga they get is just free, which I love because they can come and take yoga where if you come to the studio, it will cost you $25 to do a drop-in. Except for that, the fee you guys are asking for us to pay, it's a lot. We don't raise that much money. Again, if you want to see on how much we make and make it very see-through, I have no problem to show you every year. But $200, it's a lot. We're out there 6 days a week on the beach. Come and count how many people we have. They're not that many.
Okay.
And at 8 o'clock in the morning when we're out there, one more thing, there's really nobody. There's us, a few people walking a dog, and the seagulls. So by the time we're done, that's when people usually come in. We really don't have many people out in the parks and on the beach at that time. Believe it or not, it's usually us.
Thank you.
Can-
Thank you for your comments.
Can I ask?
Absolutely.
What do you charge people for yoga on the beach?
So we don't charge. We tell them that it's free to come. It's a donation-based class. We charge $20 through the studio if they pre-sign up, and we keep a tally of how many that is, and then donate the money at the end of the season. So people that like to pre-sign up, or they can just Venmo us. But we never had a set price on anything. And there's people that don't pay anything to come out. Yeah, I think that's the answer. And we suggested $10 until 2020 and raised it to $20 last year, I think it was. Suggested price for somebody to, that doesn't mean that there are many people dropping $20 for yoga class. I mean, we will drop $5, $6 for Starbucks, but we might drop $2, $3 for yoga class. And that's the truth.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
What time do you hold your yoga classes?
8 o'clock, and we're always done by 9
8 o'clock and
in the morning. Every morning, 8 o'clock, except for Sundays when we're at the park.
And how long does it last?
59 minutes.
Okay.
Like we literally end a minute or two before 9 o'clock, so we don't have a problem with the meters. And we never really have. We try to stay on the side, clear and closer to the beach dunes. We're really not in the way of anybody. I think if it ever became that busy, we would want to move away because then it's disturbing to the class. I don't think that we disturb people that want to come and set up for the day. It's more that they would disturb us. So then we will be like, where else could we go and teach the class? It's quiet out there. It's actually beautiful. And if you've never tried it, I would love for you guys all to come out and try it this season. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Anja Keller for 2 Massachusetts Avenue, Lewis Beach. I have moved to Lewis from abroad, as you may be able to detect from my accent, about 5 years ago. And the first thing I did when I came here to this community, I was looking up recreational activities. The only thing I found at the time was the yoga class in the park, and which is great because my husband and I, we love yoga, but it was the only thing. And I was kind of disappointed. And I was happy to see over the last couple of years that it had changed a little bit. There was more offers, and in summer, the yoga on the beach. But as a customer, from a customer perspective, I would like to see more. And I would like to be able to attend more. And I would like to have more choices, and not only yoga, but other things as well. So I think it would be worth looking into that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we got through the approved locations and times. Harry, did you want to talk about other times?
No.
No.
My question was about the fees and everything.
Okay,
I'm
all
very
right.
happy with what-
So you, with regard to the parks, any time is okay. Any other discussion on that, on the times for other locations? No?
Well, help me out so I can understand. We're suggesting a change so they can't do what they've been doing?
Not at Canal Front Park. That wouldn't change.
Not a Canal Front Park, but what
But
about
at the beaches, it would. We wouldn't have Saturday or Sunday at the beaches or other parks.
Well, and the reason for that is?
Consistency.
I kind of, now that I've heard some testimony about the use, and I'm not sure I'm comfortable with not allowing that to continue and just to cut it off. I'm just thinking that based on what was said, and we do want wellness and to promote wellness and not to prohibit wellness activities. And you know, I don't think that we could or should at this point say continue on this path without thinking about it a little bit more.
I'm going to agree with Trina about Saturday beach yoga. The gentleman made a very good point that people who come down on the weekends would like the idea of being able to do yoga twice. It would be available to them Saturdays and Sundays. I think for most other permits and other events, they would have to be considered individually. But the gentleman made a very, even though he called me old, he made a very, very good point.
The other thing is that I think we need to consider is that, and I don't know, because I'm kind of a little bit new to the Parks and Recs, has there been any complaints?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So you don't want to, if it's not broke,
Don't fix it.
don't fix it until it needs to be fixed. So that's just me.
Okay, do you have?
Well, because I think our main concern was defining things, because I think since there's been so much attention on our beaches in the last year, because certainly 5 years ago, no one cared about the beach except for the Lions Club, which has had the Snack Shack there as a nonprofit for 40 years. And now we have an influx of people who want to make a business. And so we're trying to do two things: is set things up so that we can have nice events and people can have nice activities, and yet it not be completely commercialized. So this is the path we're trying to find. And so one thing I'm going to suggest is that we revisit this after this season and see how it's worked throughout the whole city, because we're going to have the Lewis line, which will bring more people around. Hopefully that will help alleviate, people saying, oh, I'm not even going to go there because I can't get there. So hopefully we'll have more people out and about. And I think if we're taking a stand about commercialization and saying that's not the experience people want, that will be the time to revisit and say, how good a job did this do? So, and just so that I'm clear, so you're doing yoga at the beach Monday through Saturday and yoga at the park on Sunday. Right. So how would you feel if we said Sunday, no activities on the beach, but Monday through Saturday, we had that? Do you think that would be acceptable? That would keep the status quo for.
It's not changing anything.
No, but it's codifying it. Right. And us saying at some point we always have the tension between things we set up for visitors and things that we want to have for residents. We have a constant friction. And so if everybody has that opportunity to do something every day, is that not good recreation, I guess is my question.
I personally think that we need to find a balance between providing recreation and business opportunities. When Quest came to us and the city and wanted to have a walk on providing beach fires, kayaks, everything, we gave them a 2-year opportunity to see it. But when the second person came, they were turned down by council. And I respect that because it's in its testing phase. And you don't want to have 2 hot dog carts in the same spot. I don't know how we view yoga, whether if it's a business opportunity. That's not negative. I'm just simply saying a business opportunity versus providing a service for the city.
Well, I think it's probably a combination of both. Yeah.
And I think what if there's one, because I think that was our other point, is we didn't want lots, right? Because we already are going to have days, we already do, with multiple bonfires, multiple weddings. I mean, it's just what happens. People pick this is the week they're here. This is when they've chosen to get married. It's the site of a lot of things for a lot of people. And so I think if we want to keep it fresh and what people want and need, but not
well, and
a mall.
The other aspect to it is the management of it by the city. And that's basically the park administrator managing recreational activities, bonfires, weddings, events at the beaches and the parks. And the more, I think COVID did a great thing for parks because it got people outdoors and safely and in a healthy manner. But I think it's gotten, it's made the parks in the city a lot busier. And so we have to manage that and balance the opportunities against, you know, what's good for the visitors and the residents and the commercial opportunities as well. So
and the fact that there's not enough manpower to manage the number. If there were, and there probably were 1,000 bonfires this year, there's no way anybody had nothing to do but go look at bonfires and make sure that everything was put out, that there, you know, it was done. It's just not possible. I mean, there's a lot of activity.
But we're not talking about bonfires here.
No, we're not, but I'm just saying.
And so what we're talking about is activities that are healthy, that bring the community together, that are about as passive as you can get. And I think we ought to encourage that. And I don't care whether, frankly, I don't care whether someone can make a little money to organize it and run it efficiently. That to me is less of a concern than if it's managed properly and doesn't become a problem. And therefore, I would go as far as to say, I don't understand why suppose somebody wants to do Tai Chi on a Sunday at the beach. Why would we say you can't do that? Why would we close the beach before 9 o'clock and deny that? Because that might be something that a lot of people would enjoy. I don't think you'd have Tai Chi and yoga right at the same time next to each other. So if you say, well, we have a group that does yoga, it's very, very popular. They do it on the beach 5 days a week, and then or 6 days a week, and then they go to a different location to do it on a Sunday. That seems to be working well, and it's very popular. But are we then going to say, well, that's it, that for some reason, which I can't justify, the beach is off limits on a Sunday, which I don't understand why, if it's an activity like that. I think it would enrich us all to have Tai Chi or something else going on there. I think that would be a benefit for the community. Because it's managed properly, it's done by 9 o'clock when the beach changes over. So to me, it's arbitrary.
Okay.
That
would be my viewpoint.
We already have Tai Chi at George Smith Park.
Okay.
It's a ad hoc group that I don't think has ever applied for a permit. The 8 little ladies that, men and ladies, elderly.
Wise.
That appear there are benign. They're out on the island or they're under the trees near Billy Lehman's house. And I would love to find somebody that could offer Tai Chi on the park rather than the beach, because then the parking lot, there would be no time limitation. It could be in the afternoon or the early morning. And
well, see, that gets into a whole different area where we're asking it to be organized, and you pay a fee, and we know when you're coming and when you're not. And if you have a group that are strictly voluntary and they organize themselves and they show up whenever they want and do Tai Chi, is there a problem? Are we having a problem with that?
No, I'm hypothetically saying it would be nice to have it offered by an instructor. And I don't know how you do your fee schedules and charging, but to me, a simple mayonnaise jar on
a tip jar,
on an attractive stone.
Okay.
would I don't know because whether people, I know my wife pays for Zumba, and she's just voluntarily paying Zooming. And some people are getting it for nothing.
Mhm.
Susan still pays her fee that she would have if she had attended live. So I don't know how it's all viewed. But I would like to see, as the gentleman said, healthy activities being semi-sponsored by the city rather than
Yeah,
being denied.
I think what we're trying to do is figure out how to manage it better. And I don't think anybody objects to these activities going on. Actually, it's a nice thing to see, whether you're participating or not.
It's actually the city's recreation program because we don't have a
Organized recreation.
program.
Yeah. So
it's,
I would say, let's not create some rules to limit it until there's a problem. And it doesn't seem like there's a problem.
So are you suggesting all where we have activities not permitted on Saturday, Sunday, to remove that across the board?
I guess I am, because I don't understand the justification for it. And frankly, if somebody says, I want to move the Tai Chi to another, you just have to register for it if you want an organized thing, is basically what we're saying. So we know who you are, we know where you are, and we know that we're not going to have competing groups showing up at the same place, and then we have to deal with that. So it all comes through the application and the registration process with a small fee, really, and it works. I think. I mean, I don't participate in any of this, so I could be wrong about some of these things, but I haven't heard where it's a problem.
no. I think that was centered around more the commercialization versus taking things away and not allowing. It was trying to manage and contain.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, if you put a big banner up and say, welcome to Yoga World, that's a problem. Okay, that's not what anybody wants to see,
right.
But that's not what's
right.
going on. And these would prevent that from happening. They give you a reason to say, no, you can't do that.
And I like what they said about the opportunity for people to also circulate dollars among other places like coffee, whatever.
Yeah, that's no different than what the concession stand down at Savannah Beach is a nonprofit organization, correct?
Yes, it's 100% nonprofit. They raise about $40,000 every summer.
Yeah, and I think that's
Just
great.
that's
And I think we're all happy with that. And it's,
very.
I didn't know what your business was, but it seems like you're following a nonprofit model and benefiting the community. So what's the argument?
Harry.
I'm going to ask Dimitri.
Oh.
Where do you get your money from if you're giving yoga for free on the beach?
I wanted to be pretty see-through about it. I am a businesswoman. This is definitely a business opportunity for me. I'm not gonna lie. And I think I'm quite good at it. Maybe not the greatest, but I did survive COVID, so I'm gonna call myself good. Right? I did have to close one of the 2 studios, one in Rehoboth, but kept the lowest one. My name, they come to Dimitri Yoga. That's what sells. I do retreats, yoga retreats all over the world. They get interested, they get on my website, they get on my email list, they get information throughout the year about what we do. That is how I get. So it has definitely made me grow. And I'm really happy and proud of the way I figured out to make it happen. Because I had nobody down here when I moved, except for 2 kids and a husband, but nobody. We're both small business owners in the town of Lewis, or city limits, but that's what we do. It's basically paying the instructors to make sure, I mean, for the first, I want to say 10 years, it was just me teaching everything until the business really kicked off. And I have probably about 20 people working for me in the summer, 15 to 20 people, sometimes more. So being able to pay them is a great thing. If we don't make money much about it, it's okay during the week, but the weekends we make money and we're able to give back. We help Habitat of Humanity. We have helped so many different small local families that I will never name unless we can do it privately. But that's, yeah, my name comes out, of course. I teach yoga. What I would suggest, maybe if you as Parks and Recreation community committee wanted to do, one way of controlling it a little bit is for you to run it and have us do it. So I would be okay with it.
To do what?
If you wanted to run the yoga program, meaning you would say yoga provided by the Parks and Recreation of Lewis, run by Dimitra Yoga. That's another way to control it.
That's more admin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because manpower is our issue.
And that
And
would,
'cause we
that
don't-
would be something that would have to go out to a bidding process. We couldn't just, and I don't think that's
Yeah.
what we're
Yeah.
That gets
looking
into a
to
whole
do.
different can of
Yeah.
worms. And
Right.
frankly, I don't care whether you make money or not. I mean,
thank you.
I really don't.
I'm good. Thank you.
I think that, you know, when the city doesn't have the resources to do things themselves and offer activities and manage them themselves, I don't think there's any wrong with having a contractor do it. And I just don't. That's my feeling. That's
But
at least the feeling
and I think what we're trying to get at is so that it's equitable for all of the businesses that want to do things on the beach. So that if somebody's only doing it, you know, one day a week and you're paying the same fee, that was one of the other goals of this, is to be equitable. So
Meaning if there's another yoga business,
whether
How
it's
much they would
yoga,
charge?
Tai Chi, whatever.
so
Yeah.
you would want both yoga and Tai Chi to be the same price to do it on the beach. But it's a different thing. You don't pay the same thing for the same coffee or the same sport we do.
We're talking about the number of days,
Oh,
the number of days.
Not the
One group
actual
might do
service.
it one day a week and be paying $100, where another group is doing it 6 days a week and paying $100. So there's
but then the days also really matter. I mean, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there are really not that many people out there. I
And
think,
then-
and I can look at the numbers and tell you exactly how many we have during the week.
but that's not, the number of people is not factored into this.
That's not the issue, the number
Yeah.
of people that you have. It's the
many
administrative
times we're doing
burden
it.
on the city, as well as the fairness to individuals that
Well,
only use
right.
it one
Mhm.
day versus 6 days.
So in the other beach communities I am, we only pay one set fee for the season. I've never had it where it's, if you're more times, you pay more. It's the same set fee.
And what is that fee?
I want to say it's $250 for the season in Bethany Beach. And
And how many days is that?
we are out there only one day a week right now, but we could do it more if we wanted to. It's the fees just for the season. It doesn't matter how many times you do it.
Really?
Mhm.
So they're charging a flat fee? for the
I want to
whole-
say it's $250. I'm gonna look at it.
Shoot.
Well, if you want to have a seat and we'll continue the discussion on fees, and then you can let us know.
Okay.
'Cause
It would be nice if the city could, do they advertise these on the website?
we don't advertise them on the website. I know that the businesses advertise them on theirs because I've looked,
Okay.
but we don't, I have not advertised them.
I was just curious if it would say yoga Tuesdays a week through Dimitri Yoga.
Well, I think that would be something that we would have to talk about as a
Okay,
commission.
okay, that was just,
I mean, if that's a recommendation of this committee, then we would bring it back to the commission for,
Well,
A vote.
I'm just talking about promoting the idea of health and
Mhm.
wellness. Tai Chi, yoga, I guess even the boot camp aspects of it should be. So when you go on the website, these are the avenues you might go, but I guess it's no different than where you could get a cup of coffee.
yeah.
Yeah, and that might open a Pandora's box with other businesses saying, well, if you're going to advertise on the city website,
Yeah.
these activities, then you should advertise my coffee shop and you should advertise my clothing store. And
Yeah, I think that
so
might be
that,
opening
that
up.
goes down a path I
No,
don't think
no,
you
I'm
want to go.
I'm not sure if
I don't
mayor
know
and
if
council.
parallel, they're equal, but I'm not,
No,
I will withdraw that suggestion
Yeah.
on that basis. I think health and wellness should be.
I think if
promoted.
it's city sponsored, for example, the concerts at Stango Park are
City-
city supported and funded.
And staff created.
Right,
Staff
right.
Paid staff created. right.
created that
Mm.
program. I mean, if we ever had enough manpower to have a city recreation director,
That'd be a different issue.
that would be a different thing. That would be then a whole step up that we, at this point, can't make.
Right.
But then to me, it would be like the concert series.
Right.
So where are we?
Well, we're at the fee schedule. All right, so we've agreed to remove activities are not permitted on Saturday and Sunday. Is that correct?
At least at
Everybody's
the
in-
beaches. I'm comfortable with, let's try it and see how it goes. I'm there Saturday and Sunday. I'm usually there about 7.
Okay,
So I can keep track of anecdotal experience and just see what that is. And like I said, I think we need to revisit everything we come up with and see does it work or does it not?
okay. So the only change to this draft at this point is removing activities are not permitted on Saturday and Sunday. Is that correct?
That's what I see.
correct.
Okay, so then we move on to the fee schedule.
Mhm.
So I think I explained earlier how I kind of put this together, but that's going to change now because we just had to 5 days. So just discussion on fee schedule.
6 and 7, right.
Excuse me, ma'am.
So days per week, per month. And it just went up incrementally, and it would have to go again. I mean, you can always stay with a flat fee, but I think we were trying to be equitable among
Those that were
the
only using it once.
the providers that want to use the parks and
Right.
beaches.
I think if we're trying to encourage somebody who's not there now to be there, I think you have to say it's going to be based on how much you use it. Because if somebody's starting out, they may only do this for June and July.
Right.
say. So then they'd be paying for what they use.
Because this is a monthly scale right here. This is what
Right.
they pay on a monthly basis, right?
Is it consideration that going forward after such and such date, this is when this kicks in?
This has to go back to Parks and Rec for approval and then go to mayor and council.
Now, what I'm saying is the fee schedule.
Oh.
I'm thinking my heart. Okay, I'm thinking with my heart. I'm thinking they've already are paying a flat fee. Now, you're shaking your head, Harry. You know where I'm going.
I'm sorry.
You
My
know
face
where
is
I'm
like-
going. That starting whatever this.
It would
fee
be
starts
with the
starting-
season. Right.
starting
May
effective
1st.
May 1st.
May 1st,
Mhm.
22.
Mhm.
Folks who want to do activities on the beach starting then will have to pay that fee, but anybody else who's behind or already using that continuous flat fee,
I haven't issued any recreational permits this year because this is in draft.
Mm-hmm. So do you hear me, but do you understand what I'm saying? You know, like grandfathering or whatever, you know, like, you know, after you've been here since when? 15 years. So they're paying a flat.
But this policy has only been in effect since 2018. So I don't know what.
It was $50 before. And they could raise the $100.
Okay.
But I think the policy has to be applicable to all participants,
Right.
not, I don't think any grandfathering is really appropriate when you think about how you introduce new activities and everybody should be on an equal footing.
I think and I'm just thinking of fee structures in the city as a whole, you know, you could talk about a building permit and that fee structure changes and there's no grandfathering in. It is for everybody moving forward.
So is there there'll be no flat fee anymore?
Correct.
Well, there is on a monthly basis.
Well, right.
You could
and-
get
Well, you would pay something, but I'm just saying there's not a flat fee and then
For
for the season.
And then you pay this
Right.
also. You're
right.
just-
There's just one.
right, yeah, that $100 is
Now.
replaced with this scale.
Right.
Or, you know, potentially some form of more equitable payment.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be this. This was, you know, a point to start the discussions.
So let me ask this question. The equitable payment concern, is it a concern?
I think it is, yeah, because I looked at each of the groups and I had people ask me, well, if I'm only doing this like for 2 months, 1 day a week, I have to pay that fee. And I said, yeah. And so there are questions around it because they do see other groups paying the same for 6 days or 4 days a week. So it is an issue.
So let me ask you this as well. Are we in line? And I know we're our own city, but are we, because a lot of times when you do research, you're looking at what other are doing. So are we in line with those other ones? Or because she just said they play it.
Yeah. There are sample cities. I sent,
Yep.
I did some research on what other cities have in the way of programs and their fee structures. And I sent her some samplings, and I know she's done some other research, but to use those as exemplars for how to consider this or how to think about it.
Other cities in the area.
And
State
and
park.
state parks and other things. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So to speak to that, thank you for asking the questions and trying to figure out between you all. I think what it will encourage if we have a different fee is for businesses out of town that come for the season, for somebody that comes on vacations for a month or two, that is also a yoga teacher, to create exactly the same thing. I do like the one fee and one permit approval for the season, unless we do something wrong and you do get complaints about us and you want to discuss and we can try to figure out and change things then. But since we haven't had any complaints and we don't really bother anybody, we are a local business that can start it early and keep it longer, because the season here doesn't start till after Father's Day, for sure, the last weekend in June. So in May and June, it's really just for us. It's for the people that live here. And the same thing after school starts, sometime mid of August. So our season is more 6 to 7 weeks where we see people out there with COVID too. with or without COVID, that's what we've seen. So for us to be able to go longer, I think last year did we end beginning of September, October?
I
or
think
end of
you were in
September?
October.
Yeah, beginning of October. So that was because locals wanted to, they're like, can we extend it if the weather is nice? Absolutely. We don't really have that many people out there. I mean, it's a fact. We don't have that many people out there. And it's not that we're making money Monday through Friday. What it's going to do to me is I'm just going to have to cut it down to June and July, or July to August, when it is busier here, because I can't pay people to do it from May to September or October for free. And it's not just on me anymore. We are so many people that go out and teach. So if that's what gets decided, it's just going to make our part a lot shorter, because we can't be out there for nothing throughout, from May to September and not make anything, not be able to even pay our instructors, meaning. So that's a big chunk of money. That's like $800 for the season if we had to pay from May to September. So I would definitely want to have you guys revisit that and rethink that a lot, because there's really not many people out there. May, beginning of June to mid of June at least, and then end of August to October, or end of September when the season is. Thank you.
Janet, there's another hand up.
My Petruccelli again. Just a question on the fee structure. Just something to think about. They're at least they're not being biased because of the yoga, and I think it's it's a simple. And everybody brings their own water, they bring their own blanket. So you're not bringing any city resources. You're not asking the police to be there, you're not asking the fire department to be there, you're not asking an ambulance to be there. So you're not putting a burden on the city on this program. And I think when you do a fee structure and you want commercial business to come in, have them come in, but let them pay the season rate. As a taxpayer, let them pay the season. Let them commit to this community. Let them commit. Don't let them come test this thing and put a burden on you. Let them pay the full season and let them see what they can do for the full season. If they're committed to the community, they should pay a season rate. They're also not committed to the community. They're just going to test you. They're going to pollute you. They're going to put more plastic out on the beach. And so I think you need to look at that. Make them pay the full season if they want to come here and be commercial. Okay.
Who are you?
Whoever you want to come in here, let them pay, make it a season. So a person who comes in here commercially has to buy that permit for the whole season. Let them come in and pay for the whole season. Make them commit, make that business commit, put equity into their business here, not just test the waters and pollute the community and burden the community. Make them invest. And the way they're going to invest is make it a seasonal thing and make them pay a seasonal rate and make the seasonal rate that's fair to everybody and base it on what they're really bringing to the table.
I think the intent here was to say that if an organization comes in and only wants to use it one day a week, should they be paying the same set seasonal rate as a
but
organization?
That's an event thing.
No, wait a minute. And comes in and uses it 7 days a week, since we say now that we're going to let the beach. So every day, 7 days a week for the entire season versus 1 day a week every week for the entire season. Should they be paying the same seasonal rate? I think that's what this is all about.
Yes, that is.
It's just trying to be fair, because we don't have organizations that are willing to pay the fee and aren't going to be here all the time. They just can't, but they do want to do some things. And they're asking, is it fair to ask them to pay a flat seasonal rate?
They make that exception, make it by categories. What do they bring it? Make it like a category. This category 1, you do this, you pay a monthly or daily rate. Category 2, you pay a seasonal rate. Category 3, make it a different. Don't make it one size fits all. When you make it one size fits all, you hurt things.
Well, I think having everybody pay a seasonal rate is definitely.
But then give the option to pay a seasonal rate. Say the seasonal rate is X. You pay it up front. You get your income sooner.
Well, one of the things is that if the way the chart reads now, it's incremental depending on the number of days
Mhm.
over a 2-month period or a month period?
Well, I mean, it can be,
You're paying for a month.
You're paying
the
for a
way
month.
this is written, it's for 4 weeks and then there's a renewal.
Then there's a renewal,
right.
right?
But that was, you know,
A place to start.
that's a place to start.
Right, but if you said that's how often you get to use it per week, but make those seasonal fees rather than monthly fees,
That's what,
that
the
would
committee
address
wants to
what we're
do.
trying to do. So that you get it for a season and you can use it any day for a $200 fee or $250 or whatever we think is reasonable, you know, within our regional community. But you can also buy a seasonal fee with a season, you can buy seasonal access where you come in 1 day a week or 2 days a week. And,
Right.
and that seasonal fee changes because you're giving,
right,
you're being given limited access. So if you say, no, I'm only going to come in, say, I'm only going to come in and do Tai Chi in one park on a Saturday. Our argument is that they shouldn't pay the same $250 as somebody who comes in every day.
Right.
So that's all we're
I
trying to
stick-
do.
I stick to that. It's not, I think if we want to have more people say, I can come here because I can afford to do it. I think that's a good thing, because then you'll have a bigger variety of activities. And I think that's only fair. So I think if you wanted to have a monthly rate and a seasonal rate,
How would you calculate the seasonal rate then?
I'd have to ask, honestly, Ellen Lorraine, how to figure all that. Because
Because-
I don't know how to calculate
I mean,
what's a
as
reasonable.
Dimitri said, prime time is their money-making time. And she can't afford to be
Yes.
magnanimous, offering it all season long. Because it would cost her money.
Right, well, and businesses will
Yeah.
have to decide
Yeah.
what makes sense for them, or groups will have to decide what makes sense for them. Because a lot
I'll
of
explain why
social
this was in here.
clubs don't meet June, July, and August because they know everybody's doing other things.
Right.
So I think there are groups that would come June, July, and August and provide an activity, whatever that activity is. I mean, I don't know, if we had chessboards set up in the park, would people come and do that? I don't know, something like that. So I think there has to be an accommodation for something much more modest and less professional than your group, but still enjoyable and positive, if you know what I'm saying.
Please, just hold on one second. You
And
can
I just
have a
want
seat.
to close one last comment. Thank you for allowing us to have this discussion. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's helpful.
I mean, as I look at this proposed rate schedule, the only thing that has to change is that this is not on a monthly basis, it's a seasonal basis.
Really?
So
That's the fee for seasonal?
Why not?
the reason
What do we
why,
charge now?
can I,
For the whole season.
the reason why this was added was because there are some groups that only do it for 2 months. So somehow we'd have to figure that in again, if we felt that it wasn't equitable. If we go seasonal and those people those groups that are paying for 2 months
Versus
are
the 6
paying the
months.
same
Yeah.
as
6 months.
Yeah, that's not fair.
four.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yep.
then? We have a seasonal, I would leave those rates exactly where they are and not touch them. And then I would add a seasonal rate. So the seasonal rate, I guess you would have to add up. You said it was $600. Is that what you, $600 or $800? Is that what you said?
Well, if it's May,
Now it's $800.
Okay, so I would say make the seasonal rate 500. But
So,
I'm-
just a
I'm
minute.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
the hypothetical. In other words, make it still within reason and in perspective to the daily user. But I really do believe that if you're using our beach, you should be paying a fee.
No,
Nobody disagrees.
nobody
with that.
disagrees with that. 1 minute, please. Thank you. I just want to get some clarity, Harry, on what you're. So if this fee structure remains, this would be a seasonal.
No, that would still remain what you said there for 4 weeks.
Okay.
That would be the
with
4-week
the
fee.
option to renew.
And the option to renew, but then we would have to have another category. This is a monthly fee, but then you'd have to add another tier to that and make it seasonal. And I guess you would have to, I don't know whether you'd even want to bother with the 1 day versus in other words, make seasonal blanket. In other words, you come as many days as you
that's
want.
what we had.
I know.
And now you're going back to that.
No, I'm trying to compromise with what Rodney's suggesting without taking away what I was suggesting, which is that. I will tell you that you charge $25 per person.
At the studio.
Pardon me?
At the studio.
No, for your moonlight yoga.
Those are events, and we actually pay extra for that. That is not the same permit.
But you had, the way I calculated that day, you were making, the way I calculated, I might have been mistaken.
Yeah.
You were making thousands of dollars.
That is a mistake, and I can show that to you.
Because you had 50 people at $25 per person.
That was for an event pass. That was a permit.
I'm not arguing about that, but I'm just simply saying,
Yeah.
as a business person,
And, excuse me.
no, let me finish,
Yeah.
please. As a business person, you were using our beaches and charging people. You were providing music. I understand you were paying all the permits for an event, but that was a lot in my mind when I heard 50 people times $25. You were making a couple $1,000s after you paid the permits and everything else. Now, let me finish, please. Let me finish, please.
Excuse me, could you let the commissioner finish, please? Thank you.
So my line of logic was somebody said to me, and you are using the beaches for 7 days a week and charging people for yoga, and you're only paying $100. I said I didn't think that was equitable to the city. And I'm the one that started this discussion.
Okay.
Because the beach is a city resource. And while the gentleman said you don't leave plastic behind, you don't discard, I'm not arguing about the way you leave the beach. I think it's a very honorable what you're doing. And with the way the gentleman explained how this was a health and wellness thing. But I really didn't think $100 a season was equitable. Now we could go on and talk about this. I'm just telling you.
Well, let me give you the facts for it, so you can then have it and then rethink it.
Excuse me, this is not a discussion about your business. This is a discussion about a city policy.
Absolutely.
So while we appreciate your comments, we need to keep it at a broader range and not specific to your business. So I think if you could just have a seat, and we're going to continue with our fee structure discussion.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Is a special event a totally separate thing from this?
An event is, yes, it's a different.
And
permit.
it's a different application. It's a different
Right.
application. It's
Yeah.
a different fee structure. So
Right,
what you're unhappy with should be addressed at the event.
right.
No. I understand.
Could you please
pay
have a seat? Thank you.
fees for events, you pay for $25, 25 people, and 50 and above.
Okay.
If you're going to have music, you pay a fee. I understand all of those because we have them in Smith Park all the time.
Right.
But this is not, yoga on the beach is filed under a permit. and
A different permit.
a different permit. And that's why I was saying these fees should be coming more into line with what people are charging to use our beach. If you're paying $25 to have and I know we're getting out of the shade here. If you're paying $25 to have a bonfire on the beach and somebody is putting an ad in I Love Lewis saying for $75, I'll get your bonfire permit and I'll do that. And they're walking away with then irresponsibly, not cleaning up, not maintaining. It's just a very casual ad hoc thing. I object to that. Now,
I would too, but I think you're bringing other things into, it's moving away from what we're trying to address. This has nothing to do with special events.
no, but that's why I'm saying
Now,
after listening to the testimony from the people that I would like to keep that schedule, but I would like to add another wine item and making it a seasonal.
Okay.
But I would like the seasonal to come up to something like $500.
Well,
because
what are the
rather than $100.
What are the seasonals at Dewey and Rehoboth and things like that? We looked at that, right?
Yes, and I thought I had it in this file and I don't.
Let me see if I
But
have it with me.
Dewey doesn't have a 12-month population.
No.
Dewey doesn't have the support that
They have-
we have here. This is a town by the beach. Dewey is a beach town. So their season is much, much shorter.
Well, if you parked all day, you'd pay almost $20
Where?
at the beach.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
$2 an hour, 9 to
And
6,
that's why
18
people
bucks.
park up off of Bay Avenue.
Well, or you're like me and you pay. I'm,
That's why people
So-
park up off of Bay.
So I think our question is what's a reasonable fee to ask for a seasonal permit? That's where we are, isn't it?
And it has to be by the day. So if you have you're only using it one day, that doesn't seem to be,
Well,
you shouldn't be
Harry
the same as the
suggested
others.
we keep this. if
Keep
it's-
this,
if it's
that's
limited.
fine, okay.
But then we add a seasonal fee.
It's just
Then it-
one
then it-
across the board.
then it
the
probably
planning
needs
boards
to be-
delete.
Fee, and you suggested to be $500.
That's what my suggestion would be.
Okay, so that's kind of where we are.
Regardless of
How many days?
how many days. So you're kind of saying, keep what we currently have, but.
What we currently
wait,
have in red.
Wait, no, keep what the city currently has in the existing policy, which is a seasonal for $100. Just hear me
I'm
out.
listening. I'm just shaking my head.
But increasing that to 500.
Mhm.
And then in this proposal, keep this fee schedule and do it month by month.
Yes.
For
Yes.
those who want to do a
Right.
month to month.
That way someone could come in and say, I want to try out Tai Chi and see how it works. I want to try out yoga in Smith Park and see how it works. I want to test the waters for a boot camp on the beach so that they would not have to pay a seasonal rate. But somebody who is using the beach every day as part of their business plan, I think should pay a seasonal rate that's more in line. That's just my opinion. So I'm going to stop there.
No, it makes sense. We just have to figure out. So two things. I would say we need to make a decision on what's in this draft policy for the month to month. And if that's reasonable and equitable, and then from there, determine a seasonal rate.
Okay.
Does that make sense as a path forward?
Right.
I like a monthly rate and I like a seasonal rate. I think that speaks to all kinds of situations.
Okay, so if we could continue our discussion, what is your feedback on what is currently in here as a month-to-month rate?
Well, we've been charging $100 for a seasonal rate now, is up until now, is that right?
Yes, regardless of. the
Regardless
number
of
days.
what's,
Right.
it's $100 fee.
Mhm.
And we've been doing that for a while, so.
A couple
one-
of years.
Yeah, a couple of years. So one could argue it's okay to increase that. I think going from 100 to 500 is an awfully big jump. And I'm not sure, we're not looking to make money. So why are we doing that? Is it, we trying to discourage something or I don't know.
I was choosing the 500 because I thought it was more in line with our new fee schedule.
Well, but we haven't agreed on this fee schedule. I would argue that this
Well,
might be a little
that's-
aggressive.
That's,
Okay. Well, please.
So
Speak
you
up.
get it for a month we've gone from a season for 100 to a month for 200. That's what this recommends, right?
I think you're using 100 as a false measurement. I think that was just arbitrarily put on a couple of years ago. It started as 50, then it doubled to 100. I think it was just an arbitrary number.
Well, this is an arbitrary number.
Well, but there was a time when our parking meter fees, the meter fees were going up, but the parking ticket was actually cheaper than paying. So people figured that out. So don't pay the meter because you only have to pay a $20 ticket. So then it's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. So, and I think we're at this moment here with bringing it into alignment. I mean, it wasn't anybody's fault or a terrible thing. It just was like, this is not business. This is self-defeating. So I think that this is our question. Would you propose cutting the fee schedule by a third?
I took mine offline.
I think I have an extra copy that I didn't write on.
Through a month. 4 weeks, so maybe the month was the question there. You get unlimited access for a month for 1 day though.
Well, but remember, people are willing to pay $18 to park from 9 to 6. So I'm just saying, you know, people are willing to.
Would you like to change this saying this is only good for 4 weeks to make this a seasonal? But see, then it really blows it out of the water here. All we've done is double the price, which I don't think is equitable. I think that we're offering a pretty easy thing, the beach. And I think it has to have more value.
So if we considered this, instead of this being monthly, seasonal, and we increased the 2 days to say 150 and the 3 days to 200 and, you know, and on, and that would be the season versus monthly, we would get closer to the amount that you're proffering might be a fair.
Start out at 100.
Right.
Make
One.
2
If you do the 2, 150,
150.
right? You do the 3 days, 175,
Well, now remember
200. We're adding 25 to each one.
Well, then 5 days would be 2 1/4.
Right.
And then 7 days would be 75
Right.
for the whole season.
Or we can increase that, you know, but maybe use this chart as a place, as a starting point for the seasonal,
Okay, so
but increase the dollar amounts in a more.
instead of going up $25, let's go backwards. Let's make 7 days $500.
Okay.
Just, we're talking.
All right. I'm writing it down. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's yours.
I'm writing it down. Okay, so 507 days. 6 days is how much?
Well, okay, so we have to go between 1 and 500.
Right.
So it'd be about $50 a day. increase, 1 to 150 to 200 to 250 to 3. Yeah. Yeah, $50 increase. Try that.
Be 400. You need
Okay.
you need a,
400
if they started at 400 and worked backwards, you'd end up at 100 in $50 increments.
I'm happy with that.
And this would be per season,
Right.
is what you're saying.
Right. That's what we were saying,
And
to
we're
convert it
also
from
gonna
monthly to
We're
seasonal.
also
Yeah.
going to revisit all of this too.
Right.
We
And-
have to.
And it has to go before the Parks and Rec, and then it has to go before Mayor and City Council. So this is a proposal from us.
Right.
If we finalize some numbers tonight, to proffer them to Parks and Rec.
I've gotten, I'm satisfied.
Okay. This is seasonal,
Right.
and then there's no monthly.
There's no monthly, there's only one line item.
Okay.
Okay. So then we'd have, let me just go over it. We'd have 1 day a week, single use, 100
For the season.
for the season.
Right.
So I'm gonna make this a seasonal fee schedule. 1 day a week or single use is $100. 2 days is $150. 3 days is $200. 4 days, $250. 5 days, $300. 6 days, $350. 7 days, $400. Seasonal,
Right.
400.
400.
Right.
Right,
And the season being May 1st to September 30th.
correct.
It's 6 months. Right?
No,
May,
May,
June,
September,
July,
October,
August, September.
November. Yeah, May.
5 months, sorry.
5 months.
And
I
we
think it's-
have that, excuse me, season change in here
Yeah. I think that's
on page 2, number 5.
Right.
Okay,
May 1 to September. Got it.
I think that those are modest fees.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'm satisfied.
I can support that.
I think it gives a modest group who doesn't know if they're going to make it or not, a way to try without
Right, right.
getting in so deep,
Right.
or just saying, I know I'm not going to make that in 5 years, so
Right.
Well,
I'm not even going to try.
And-
You don't want
and
that.
Look too, if we hadn't included a seasonal fee and we'd gone by the month, it would be higher.
Right.
It would be, Dimitri said it would be $800.
Well, it would be more admin for the city employees, which is, this at least
Simplified.
simplifies it. Yes, thank you.
So do we want to make a motion to accept these?
I make the motion that we accept our proposal.
We hear a comment? Or is it redundant?
Final comment?
Briefly, please.
Mhm.
Anja Keller again. I hold a master's in business administration. If you were to offer me this model that you just discussed for a non-profit morning yoga session on the beach, I would deny your offer. Because I think, and I heard that from Kay, if I may call you Kay, there is a concern about commercializing the activities on the beach and also doing non-profit activities on the beach. And I think that is worth looking into. Thank you.
Thank you. So Harry, final comment?
Make it brief,
Please,
please.
and thank you. I just want to set the numbers straight. June 28 people, July 41, August 23, September 32. That's how many participants we had for the events. That was a totally different fee, not
Okay.
50.
We're talking about the
I just want
recreation
to make
policy.
sure that
so
Harry
we can do that
knows
off.
exactly
We
what
can
we're
do that
talking.
off the record. Thank
It
you.
was on the record before, so I just want this on the record.
No, I
Yeah,
appreciate
and
your
that
enlightenment.
is a price that we set that we then split after costs come out with the instructor. So it's actually not the business that makes it.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
So Harry, your motion?
I make the motion that we accept our new changed as
the,
Well, it's
the
not only fee
revised,
structure, it's the whole.
it's the,
All
okay,
changes in the document? Is that what
all
you're saying?
changes in the document.
Okay,
okay.
okay.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hang on, I'm writing as fast as I can. here.
Okay,
Um,
motion carries. We'll take this to Parks and Rec on Monday.
Okay,
Janet, can we
Still
do
in
the
draft form.
right.
Can we do the minutes to review the minutes?
Oh, we didn't do that.
So
did we?
that I know if I need to make changes and then
Yep.
I'll jam these out. as
Thank
fast
you
as I
for
can.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Because my minutes are
Um,
beautiful here.
So we had the minutes from the February 9th, 2022 subcommittee meeting. Did everyone have an opportunity to review those? And Kay, thank you for putting those together.
Sure, sure.
I make a motion that we accept Katie's.
Thank you, Harry. Is there- Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And it is 6:46 and
adjourn.
thank you.
Second.
I second, I third it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whew. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
helpful.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank you so much.
comments.
Okay.
Thank you, Ryan. And thank
Yeah, I think it's a good, and we can revisit and see, because you know, you hope that there are more activities, but
Let me just tell you something.
you know, because I'd like
I
to have,
appreciate your effort. I appreciate
know-
what you provide. I am not in any way trying to defeat your business model. As a matter of fact, we babysat Ed and Kathy's Labrador when you took them to Greece a couple of years ago. So we're well aware of what you provide because they're two of your strongest supporters. And so I'm very, and I'm not in any way trying to.
I just
put you
want
out of
to know
business. That's what we're
what's,
like.
when you say inflated numbers and thousands,